Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Circuit Stream info session. Today, we are going to be discussing our game development and game design boot camps. Before I kick off the event officially, Indy just says good evening in the chat there. Before I kick off the event officially, I was just looking to make sure that everybody can see me okay, everybody can hear me okay. Feel free to interact and just let me know. You can do the live reactions, you can give me thumbs up. You can put something in the chat and just let me know. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Perfect, I can see some yeps in the chat. And then also down by the chat log there, there's also a questions tab and a polls tab. So I will drop some polls in during the presentation here today. And then the questions tab we will use at the very end and do some Q&A. So if you do have questions throughout the presentation, you're welcome to do it in the actual chat portion. But we will take some time with the questions tab at the end. So if you kind of want to focus on the questions there, just pop them in there. We can take a little bit of time at the end there. And then I also like to share where I'm from. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Feel free to share in the chat where everyone is joining us from here today. And while that is happening, I am just going to get the presentation portion queued up here for us. There we go. Oh, I see a New York over on the side there. I'm Calgary, Canada, like I said. We've got Vancouver, another Calgary, Virginia, Nanaimo, Seattle, Vancouver. Lots of Vancouvers today. Sydney, California, but living in Canada at the moment. Amazing. Where in Canada are you living at the moment? Collingwood. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Toronto, Ohio, sadly. I've been to Ohio, it's not that bad, come on. Vancouver, well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I will go ahead and get the presentation kicked off here so we can get into the exciting stuff here and get our guest speaker up on stage in not too long. I'll start off with a little bit of an introduction of myself. So my name is Tyler Trapp. I'm the marketing events manager at Circuit Stream. I've been with the company for just over 2 years now. I guess I celebrated my anniversary a couple weeks back. And before working here, I worked in travel and tourism for about 10 plus years. I'm also a video game enthusiast. I always share that I love playing anything Mario, and I consider myself a senior Fortnite player. So our speaker here today will be Leo. Leonardo is going to be joining us not too long. He's a Circuit Stream game development bootcamp alum. And he's going to come on and share a little bit about his experience with the course and kind of what he's been working on since then as well. Before we officially hop into the presentation here today, I wanted to take a quick moment and kind of address the elephant that is in the room right now. The elephant being that Unity did recently announce a per install charge, which is quite a big change. And based on the response that we see, a lot of people aren't super happy with this announcement. As it currently stands, Unity has come out again since the announcement and said that they will be revising what has happened. We're not quite sure where that's going to go quite yet. But having said that, it's been quite amazing to see the positive community response. Everyone came together really quickly and kind of rallied very strongly around their concerns with this. And I think it's going to force Unity to reconsider what they're doing, which is fantastic. The amazing thing is that we use Unity as one of the tools to teach development at Circuit Stream, but the reality is that the skill sets we teach within Unity can also be transferred and used in other development platforms. So Unity is a partner of ours. They've been a partner of ours since the beginning, but this change definitely took us by surprise as well. So with that being said, we will be hosting a town hall on September 21st. It'll be at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. It will be in our Discord server. So if anybody wants to join that, if they have any questions kind of about, about what the landscape looks like right now, please feel free to join that. It's going to be led by our instructor manager, Indica. He oversees 25 of our instructors at Circuit Stream, and he's actually in the chat right now. So if you have any questions about that right away, feel free to ping him in the chat here, ask him. And Indy, if you have the link for the Discord server, feel free to share that in here for everyone for the town hall as well, and then people can join that. Again, that'll be on the 21st, not today. We will also be announcing lab sessions for Unreal and Godot shortly. And for anybody, there's been a strong response from some people with Unity. So if you were looking to take a course and you weren't looking to use Unity right away, we do also have the other bootcamp, which is the design-focused one, which we use Unreal as the main tool as opposed to Unity there. So different skill set, design versus development, but just depending on what you're kind of looking for, we just wanted to give you a few options and let you know that we are responding to Unity's announcement, and we're going to get the community set up with additional support. So now let's start with the actual presentation and a quick overview of who CircuitStream is. So CircuitStream began in 2015 through a network of developers, designers, and creators who are pioneering the virtual and augmented reality ecosystem. CircuitStream saw a need for education and training that would empower people to develop and design XR applications and advance the industry's frontiers. We now partner with industry-leading companies and leading educational institutions to offer courses and training to those looking to learn more about emerging technologies such as XR, game development, and game design. I'm going to share a little bit of information about the gaming market and the job market for game developers and game designers. Before I do that, I always like to ask a quick question, get everybody engaged in the chat here. Feel free to share what your current what your current favorite video game is. Again, I mentioned mine before. Mine were Mario. I can play anything Mario, but I also consider myself a senior Fortnite player. So just a fun, engaging way to kind of chat. Rocket League, Outer Wilds, The Last of Us Part 2. I want to play that too. I feel like it's going to spoil the TV show, which unfortunately I've gotten addicted to as well now. So Mario Galaxy, Heavy Metal, Monster Hunter, lots of great titles in here. I've played quite a few of these, so this is amazing. Valorant, I want to play Valorant. I'm still a Fortniter right now, but I want to try Valorant as well. So amazing, amazing. So becoming a game developer or designer can be a rewarding career choice for individuals who are passionate about gaming, and for those who have a flair for creative and interactive experiences, problem solving, and technology. On screen, you can see some of the top reasons why people would choose to work as game developers and as game designers. Just to read some of them off here: express your creativity, craft player worlds, collaborate with dynamic and creative teams, and of course, a passion for gaming at the top there. The gaming industry as a whole has expanded significantly in recent years. In the US, there are over 3,000 game studios employing almost 300,000 people, which is insane. And in Canada, there has been tremendous growth over the last few years with over 900 active game studios, which is a 35% increase since just 2019. Also crazy. Not only that, the game industry contributed to over $5 billion in Canada's GDP, which is a 29% increase over the last 4 years. Again, also crazy. So as you can see, there's tons of potential in this industry, both in US and Canada and globally, of course. We are partnered with University of Melbourne. We'll be doing a presentation on that one as well tomorrow, and we'll share a little bit of information for the Australian market, just to give you a little bit of insight on that side as well. As a game designer, you'll have the power to shape exciting new games. The average salary for game designers is $120,000 per year in the US and in Canada. There are a range of job titles in this field, but we've added some examples such as game designer, level designer, systems designer on the screen here for you to kind of take a look at as an example. I just saw Shovel Knight off to the right there. I'm not quite sure what game that is. Currently, there are over 8,000 job openings for game developers in the United States alone, with an average salary sitting of about $121,000 annually. Now is a great time to get into the industry. Some of the titles you could end up with are game developer, game engineer, game programmer, so on and so forth. These are just a few of the many companies that hire for positions we mentioned in the previous slides. Many well-known companies such as EA Games, Rockstar, Epic Games are hiring in this space, but there's also a ton of smaller indie game studios like Cloudhead Games, Extremely OK Games that hire in this space as well. We're actually partnered with a few of the companies that you can see on screen here right now. And a little bit more about CircuitStream and the gaming industry. Now that you do know a little bit more about it, I'm going to jump into some information about our 2 boot camps here as well. So the Game Design Bootcamp is designed for those who are looking to enter the gaming industry as a designer. They want to establish their own company, or they're looking to utilize game design skills in their current roles. The great thing about this bootcamp is that it is all project-based, so you'll practice, you'll use practical skills while working on real-world projects. I told you guys at the beginning, I'm going to have a hard time talking today. I don't know why, but over the course of 30 weeks, you'll learn how to analyze game design elements, conceive gameplay concepts, design game mechanics, and create functioning game prototypes and test novel gameplay ideas as well. You'll learn the role of a game designer and its various specializations and how they fit into video game production. The Game Development Bootcamp is designed for people who are looking to get into the gaming industry as a developer, those looking to start their own companies, or those looking to use the development skills in their current role as well. This course is completely beginner friendly, but it does tackle advanced concepts as you progress through. So if you have a bit of coding experience already, or if you've taken one of our 10-week XR development courses, for example, you'll still get a lot of this with this course. The first couple of weeks probably acting as a little bit of a refresher. If you're completely new, then the first couple of weeks would also be completely brand new to you, but it is beginner friendly paced. The great thing about the bootcamp, it is also project-based, similar to the other one I mentioned. You'll learn concepts in class and apply them to real-life projects, and you'll get to create your own ideas as the final assignment. You work with a team of other students or on your own to create a game experience from start to finish using the skills learned throughout the course. Our students really enjoy this aspect of the course because it allows them to build a portfolio of projects and demonstrate their skills that they have learned, and they get to see their ideas come to life. So besides learning all the skills to become either a game developer or game designer, these bootcamps also come with ample career support and guidance. In the Circuit Stream Career Labs, you learn to leverage your technical and behavioral strengths, gain awareness in the Unity and XR and gaming digital ecosystems, create compelling portfolio, elevate your digital presence, learn how to network effectively, and become interview ready for industry jobs. Our career networking support really sets these programs apart from others that you may find that are similar. Every student has different objectives when they come in, but those who are looking for a new job or looking to improve their current positions really find this aspect of the course is incredibly helpful. So the support is amazing. Now, there's a way that I can download these slides later. Before I invite Leo up officially, yes, I meant to say this at the beginning. Anybody who's registered for this event will receive a copy of all of the slides at the end of the session. So just look in your email once the session has finished today, and you should get a copy of the full recording, which will include the slides as well. Perfect. All right, so without further ado, I am going to, no problem, Jonathan, of course. I'm going to invite Leo here up on stage. Leo is the alum of our Game Development Bootcamp, as I mentioned previously, and he's going to share a little bit on his experience with us and with the course. So welcome, Leo.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, Tyler. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to see so many people in the chat and so eager to talk about all of the good stuff that Circuit Stream has to offer.
Awesome. Yeah, the chat's very engaging today, which is great. So without further ado here, Leo, I can start off. Maybe you can share a little bit about how you first came across the courses at Circuit Stream and what led you to taking them.
Sure. So about a year ago, I think it was July of last year, I kind of changed career paths or decided that I wanted to change career path into something more programming focused. And I had done some Unity practice, like the free stuff that Unity provides on their website, and was really interested. Then I was like, how much do I really want to go, like, or how much do I really want to know to go into game development? Like, where can I acquire all of those skills? So I just decided I'm going to do Python for a little bit. And so I got certified in like basic Python, and then Unity just kept calling back. I just kept going back and just had so much fun making simple games. And one day I was online and I was just like, it's a Unity course, like long Unity. I searched something on Google and Circuit Stream happened to pop up like first or second. And I looked into it. I looked into whole the whole project, right? Because it's not just about the skills that you learn, it's about the career. I think the career part of it was what really made a difference for me, because I knew I was going to need help changing all the experience that I had that wasn't game related into something that could be in my resume for game development. And that's 100% what bought me like what that was my buy-in for Circuit Stream. And then I had a call with a couple of people, really loved everything that they were offering, the fact that it was so project based, so I knew that I wouldn't be embarrassed of my portfolio at the end, which was something that I was in the beginning. I had no portfolio when I started at Circuit Stream, and now I do. So yeah, that was really what kind of had me join. And then I found out about the boot camp a week before it started. So it had to be a really quick turnaround, and I was able to join and finish it, and now here we are.
Awesome, awesome. And often in life, that's how things happen. A lot of memorable things for me happen in the last minute, and they end up being great. So, and then what sort of experience, I think you kind of just answered this a little bit, but what sort of experience did you have in this field before starting the boot camp? You mentioned you didn't have a portfolio, but maybe expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, I had done a little bit of computer science in college, but it had been 5 years, so I didn't really remember much. I had done a little bit of Python, so I had uh, a little bit of, a small idea of basic programming, and then the free projects that I was talking about with Unity. So I was familiar with the syntax that Unity and C# used at the time, but nowhere near like the level of the bootcamp, right? Or like what you get to at the end. So when you joined, or when I joined, the curriculum has changed a little bit now, but when I joined, there was an on-demand course that you could take with like basic C#, that if you finished it before classes actually started, it gave you a really solid base to move on to classes without feeling lost. And I believe the change in the curriculum is simply that now that is also part of the classes.
Okay.
It's not just on demand. So, which is even better because some people, in my cohort, I believe some people didn't take it because it was on demand. So they didn't feel that it was necessary, maybe. And they were definitely behind when the classes started. So now that it's part of the classes, it kind of puts everyone on the same, like on an equal playing field, and you all grow together. Obviously, people are going to learn at different paces. That's just how it goes. But it gives everyone the same base before moving on to the more advanced concepts.
Yeah, that's kind of, harboring back to what I said earlier. It is considered beginner friendly, but if you're completely brand new and you don't have a whole lot of coding experience, you definitely benefit from kind of getting a little bit of assistance with that as you go through. But if you do have, any sort of coding experience, the very beginning portion of the course could just be a little bit of a refresher for you as well. So, which is also great because some people did coding years ago and they need a bit of a refresher when they're coming back into things as well. So.
For sure.
My next question for you would be, how did the course instructor support your learning journey with Circuit Stream?
I think the 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 community that Circuit Stream helps you build is probably the most valuable thing in the whole project. Obviously, the skills are amazing, and I use them every day from now. But it's the community because, and we'll talk about it now. The job that I have now is because of all of the networking possibilities that Circuit Stream gave me. And so the instructors were really great, not only during class, but also like Indica was really helpful whenever we needed. I know we had like a little bit of a thing during class, and so he took over for like the last little bit, just to kind of help us refresh before our capstone, which was fantastic. And then the instructor kind of like, the whole bubble right on Discord, like you can reach out to anyone, you can schedule one-on-ones with anyone, you can go to anyone's office hours if you want, and everyone was like really good at being on the same page for uh the support. So it was very helpful. Um, yeah, and I mean, like a lot of people might think that, oh, I can learn most of these things on YouTube. There's nothing compared to a live session. It's completely different because you can ask the questions, right? You can interact with other people. You can create projects with the people that you'll meet in these boot camps. So yes, you might learn some stuff from the internet, on demand, but there's nothing compared to a live session with someone actually teaching it to you in real time.
I agree. Indy just put a little angel face in the chat there when you were chatting. Um, Perfect. So, in this, I guess this kind of leans in a little bit to what you just said as well. But how was your experience with Circuit Stream's network and the Discord server overall?
Fantastic, right? So, Circuit Stream, the Discord does a really good job at keeping you updated with important news, like the one you mentioned, right? With the Unity came out last week. It does a really good job. There's like a whole showcase portion. So if you're working on a project on the side, you can just like put a little video or a little screenshot of what that project is, and people are really supportive when it comes to being like, great job, or how did you do that, or can I join your project? And that brings me to my next point, which is you can join projects and you can create projects with people, with alumni, with instructors, with like fellow students. It doesn't like the community is so tight that everyone would probably, like, most people would probably be okay joining a project that you're working on. So everything is on the Discord. It's nice because it's a one-stop shop. And I know that we're trying to make it an even more one-stop shop with the like even more learner support there. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, I know Indica's doing some sessions through the Discord as well.
Yeah.
Yes, Eric, in our Discord there. We can share that in the chat with you as well. Perfect. So specifically to Circuit Stream's pitch day, how's your experience with that and your course graduation?
So pitch day, when I joined Circuit Stream, pitch day was, I forgot to mention, was also a thing that made me choose Circuit Stream above anything else, because I was like, I know that no matter what, I will have a window to hiring partners at the end. And so if I put the work in during the 6 months that I'm doing this, I will have something impressive to show at the end. And I know that Circuit Stream will do their best to have the, you know, the biggest number and the most quality people join the pitch day so that they can see our projects. And that's exactly what happened. I put in the work during the 6 months. I presented 2 projects during pitch day, one that I did by myself, one that I did with a group. And immediately after, I got reached out one for a contract work. So I just a job that I did for a couple of weeks, which I made a single player game into a multiplayer game. And then the second one was for a full-time job opportunity that I have now. That is currently my job. So I can say for certain that without Circuit Stream, I wouldn't have my job now. And it's not just because of the skills that I learned, but also because of the networking, right? The way that I got my current job is VR programmer for a startup company. And I could say that without any doubt, without Circuit Stream and the network, I wouldn't have that job. And simply not just because of pitch day, but because I got recommended to that job by an instructor that wasn't even my instructor, who I just happened to go to 2 office hours for. So I went to his office hours twice. He liked my project. He liked what I was working on. He thought I was skillful, and he recommended me to this full-time job. And then his boss came to see pitch day, agreed, contacted me, and here we are now. So pitch day was fantastic. It was obviously a little nerve-wracking because you kind of have to present. I'm okay usually with the camera and the mic, but I know a lot of people are not. So if you're not, it's just something that kind of takes you out of your comfort zone and forces you to make that presentation, which I also think is a really valuable skill to have. But for me, that part was okay.
Amazing, amazing. Well, and the hiring partners themselves are so supportive. I know that, I mean, I would never tell if you were actually nervous when you did it, because your presentation did not seem like you were nervous at all. A few people, you know, in advance shared with us that they were a little bit nervous, but I think the way that the hiring partners approached the beginning of it and kind of just supported everybody, let them know that they're there, just to see their work. We're all here to support you. It kind of took a little bit of the butterflies out of some of their stomachs too. But like you said, it's also good practice to practice presenting in front of people and kind of getting your work out there. So so for Leo specifically, just to clarify, he basically found a job through the Circuit Stream network and also received a contract during pitch day, which are 2 separate things.
Yes, and I also want to say separately that that's not a guarantee, right? I got lucky, and I believe in luck, but I also believe that luck is something that you have to prep for, right? So I got lucky that there was someone there that needed a new team member, and they were actively looking for someone to join their team. But I put myself in the position to be lucky by working really hard during the 6 months and like completing most, if not all, assignments, earning a high grade, earning respect from the team. And when the time came, not only was I prepared to present, but I was also recommended by someone from the team, right? So like they were kind of aware that I was going to be there already. So yes, I was lucky that they needed me, but had I not prepped and had I not done the good work, they would have seen my presentation and been like, yeah, that's fine. We'll find someone else, right? So luck exists, but you have to be prepped for when the luck hits, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And if you'd seen Leo's presentations, you'd know they were amazing as well. And he says luck, but I think he just wowed everybody when he did it. But you're absolutely right. I mean, just kind of basically aligning the stars and setting up opportunities where people can be in the room to witness what you've created and provide opportunities, career opportunities for you. That's the whole point of the pitch day. We just want to bring people together and we have lots of studio partners. Sometimes they're hiring during pitch days, sometimes they're not. But the benefit there too is that they all get to see your work, and when they are hiring, they've got your names, they've got your information, and that's the key. So you may not get a job right away at pitch day, you might, but the whole benefit there is that we're kind of connecting you to a really important network of people who can provide opportunities for you. So the next question I have for you is, how has the knowledge you acquired in the course influenced your current career or personal life?
I mean, every day. So for those of you that don't know, I'm also an instructor at Circuit Stream now, which again is also not a guarantee, right? Like just because you're a student doesn't mean you're going to become an instructor. But again, I put in the work, and I had previous experience teaching as well. So it happened to match, and I teach the boot camp now. So not only is the skill that I learned what I'm teaching now, but it's also what I use every day, uh, literally day to day. So it's fantastic, and I think the curriculum now is it's even more impressive, more advanced, and more useful than it was when I graduated. I think there was a big upgrade, and I think they just gave it a big update to the curriculum, and it's fantastic. Like it's everything that you're going to learn will be useful if you're developing games.
Amazing. And I noticed off the side here, I don't know if Livestorm, the platform we're on today, is having any sort of issues. Normally I can pop polls into the polls tab at the bottom there. If somebody in the chat wants to take a look, maybe just check the polls and see if you're able to interact, and just let me know in the chat log if you're able to access them. Ideally, I'd love to have people fill out some polls during this presentation, but if Livestorm is not working with me today, then we'll just kind of have to deal with that. But it's showing that they're in there. I just can't fully tell. I don't see any polls yet. Okay, perfect. So I'll keep working on this, and I'll see if I can get a team member on the back end to get those polls added in here. But it's yeah, I'm not sure why it's not working for me. But in either case, we'll proceed with the questions here. So Leo, do you have any tips or strategies for staying motivated and committed to learning, especially for those who may be considering enrolling in these types of courses?
Yes, 100%. I think the biggest motivation that I had personally was pitch day at the end. Like, right? Because that's what I said. Pitch day is going to be a window for you. So what do you want to show? And that's exactly what kind of kept me going every day. Like there were days that I would work on my personal projects until 2 a.m. just to make sure that I, got through the goals that I had for myself for that day. Um, you are going to have the opportunity, if you choose to be in the boot camp, you are going to have the opportunity to show your work to other people. And if you're truly wanting to go into this career path, that is about as much as you can ask for, right? Because there are people waiting to see what you can provide. And so I think that was the biggest motivator for me. Tips for success also in the boot camp. I think, like I said, there's nothing like live sessions, and that is completely true. But there's also nothing like hearing the same concept over and over, and maybe from different people. So what I would do is I would go to class, and I would uh, pay attention, of course, and follow along with the project. And then right after, I would either try to apply that concept to a project that I had, or if I didn't have a project that needed that just a generic project, just to make sure that I could grab that concept and put it in a project by myself. And then I would also maybe go on YouTube, or maybe go on Google or in the Unity documentation, just to really reassure what I had learned, so that not only is it like code that I copied or saw one time during class, it's also something that now I fully understand. And of course, I don't fully understand everything. I don't think anyone does, like of game development, right? There's just so much to it. But that kind of repetition of going to class, then applying it, then if I applied it and didn't really understand still, then I would go find more resources. And that could be like another resource as a secondary resource, or simply just watching the the recorded lessons. So just making sure that you're keeping up, because it is fast paced, right? We teach a lot during those 6 months. But if you're keeping up and if you're serious about the career change, it is a blessing.
And just a little extra one. I didn't actually let you know I was going to ask you this during, but is there any resources that you use to keep up to date on anything kind of in the industry, updates, things that are kind of going on as well?
Yeah, so I have a YouTuber that I follow that kind of covers all of that. His name is Code Monkey. If anyone is interested, I used a lot of his stuff before Circuit Stream for like small tutorials, right? And I use his stuff now whenever like there's a concept that I don't understand or that I need to know something real quick, I'll go to him. But then he's also been giving a lot of updates in the industry as well. And his especially now during Unity, right? His opinion about the whole Unity pricing thing. So I like that. I follow a lot of indie game developers on Twitter as well. So all of that stuff. And yes, I was going to say, Indy said documentation. Documentation is so important. Literally everything is there. If you have a question, it's there. Either the Unity documentation, the C# documentation, the you know anything that you need, there has been code written for it, and there is an explanation for it out there. So that and YouTube were the secondary resources that I use the most.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing. Sorry for throwing a curveball question at you that
No, no
I didn't
worries.
prepare you for. Um, and then, what advice would you give to individuals with little or no experience? They say they've got no coding, but they're looking at doing something like this, or they've got minor coding, or just they're feeling very green and they want to start the journey.
For sure. The first thing is the Circuit Stream, like Tyler said, is beginner friendly. But if you know that you don't have any experience, do what I just said, right? Like grab the concepts that you see in class and apply it over and over again. Apply it rereading the code from class, apply it by yourself while rereading the code from class, and then apply it without anything. Like coding is a lot of repetition, is a lot of studying so that you can really understand the syntax. Luckily, C# is very user friendly in my view. I think it's a language that it's kind of developed from C++ and C, which are older. C# is newer than that. So I think it's very user friendly and a really good language to learn. But if you know that you don't have experience, it's going to come slower in the beginning. So you do kind of have to do the extra work to keep up. And I say that because I was completely new to C#. Well, I had a tiny bit of experience in C# before I started Circuit Stream. So I knew that I had to work harder to keep up with the concepts learned in class.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. And I think that was it. So that's all I was grilling you with in terms of questions. But the last thing I'll get you to do is maybe just share, if there's any interested individuals in connecting with you or learning more about your journey and accomplishments. How are they able to connect with you? Do you have a LinkedIn you can share?
Sure. Let me go ahead and bring my LinkedIn in here real quick. If anyone wants to connect or ask more questions, I know we'll have a little Q&A at the end if you guys have questions now. But if you remember something later, if you just want to reach out about my experiences or about a game that you're building or anything like that, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Well, I'm going to invite you back up on the stage here in just a couple minutes here, Leo. I'm just going to share a little bit more information about the company and the upcoming course dates, and then we can go through some Q&A. I did see a few people say the polls are in there, so for anybody looking, feel free to go into the polls tab now. You should be able to interact with that at this point and fill out the polls. You can see we've got some questions in the questions tab. I'm going to politely ignore those just for now, and so we can do the Q&A proper at the end there, and I'll post those up for the class to see. That's the way I usually say it. So let me get into the next part here. Pitch day is what we were talking about previously. I meant to mention this previous to inviting Leo up, but pitch day is the event where we invite the hiring partners to. This is just a quick slide kind of explaining what that is there. I've mentioned the tools that you would use in the courses. I mentioned Unity, but there are quite a few other tools listed here that you would use well in the boot camps. We're always iterating our course materials and tools to ensure that they are the most up-to-date, what is currently being used in the industry. So you may see some additional tools here added or swapped out. Leo, you may even see some tools that are different since you took the course with us here. They could also all still be the same here, but if you haven't heard of Unity or Unreal, they're the world's leading platforms for creating and operating interactive real-time 3D content. You can use them to create games, visualizations, immersive experiences, and much, much more. We found that having experience with these engines will definitely help set our students apart from the competition. So we kind of focus in both areas. Obviously, we've got some updates that'll be happening here with Unity, but this is kind of the tools that we're using in both of these courses right now. As I mentioned, you'll be finishing the course with portfolios of projects as well. They demonstrate the skills that you've learned in the course. Yeah, I think you get 5 projects to add to your portfolio once you complete. But you also get lifetime access to the Circuit Stream community on Discord, which currently has over 1,200 members. I know Leo was sharing some information about his experience with the Discord server. Community is a great place to network, get help on projects, ask questions, find out about career opportunities, or just connect with like-minded people who are also taking similar style classes. The best part is that you're a part of this for life. You don't ever have to leave the community. And in fact, we encourage you to stay and network with new students, with past students, with everybody basically. A little bit more about the logistics of the live programs. The boot camps are both 30 weeks long, and they consist of 5 hours of live online instruction per week. That would be via video conference and roughly about 10 hours of independent study. The great thing to note is that these sessions are all recorded, similar to this presentation here today, and sent out to students in case you miss or need to go back and review any of the topics. We also offer daily office hours where students can drop in and ask questions they have. So, like if you're applying into practice, similar to what Leo said, you go through a course, you learn a concept, you go and try and figure it out yourself. If you're having any sort of difficulty when you're actually trying to work on it on your own, pop into the office hours and ask the instructors for a little bit of support. They can help you finish that, and then you can kind of move on to the next parts of the course there. So, but even after it's finished, the boot camp, we're still there to support you. And there are different time slots available as well. I think I had some time slots coming up that I'll be able to share with you. But if not, if you have any questions about the available time slots, of course, just reach out and let us know. We can let you know what the best time slot would be option would be for you based on where you're living. I'm going to go over a little bit of the information about the boot camps. I'll start with the pricing, obviously very important information. The boot camps are both priced the same. The initial cost for them would be $14,995. For the session here today, we are offering a special attendee price, and we are providing 15% off of the courses. So it's over $2,000 in savings, a really good deal for both the development and the design boot camps. And if you're looking to secure a spot for the October cohorts at this discounted rate, just let us know. We can absolutely get a spot saved for you. I should say we have to check availability first to make sure that we have seats available, but provided that we have open seats, we can certainly get a spot saved for you. I would hate to promise if we were full on something and you went to register, but we do have further dates, of course, that would be available after that. We are offering different financing options depending on where you are from. So we offer third-party loan options through Climb and Affirm, and we also offer deferred payment plans for up to 24 months. This would be kind of depending on what works best for you, where you're located. So if you're looking to take a course, the best thing to do is just reach out, connect with the admissions team here, and they can kind of let you know what the options would look like there, what the monthly payment plans would look like, all that sort of fun stuff. So we do typically run these courses every 5 to 6 months or so, but the upcoming cohorts for both courses begin on October 3rd, and they run through to May 7th, 2024. The one after that would start on January 9th and run through to August 9th. So like I said a moment ago, if you were looking at registering for the upcoming course and for any reason we were full, we do of course have the January 9th to August 3rd cohort available as well. And I believe if you attend this session here today and you're receiving the promo message, we would be able to actually apply that promotion, the 15% off for both of these cohorts for either the development or the design, either starting October 3rd or January 9th. So yeah, just a great little promotion for people who are here today. We are going to share some links on the screen. I'm kind of hoping that I have some of my team members on the back end who will be able to share some of these for me while I'm chatting. But if the links for registration don't pop up in the chat here, just give me a moment. And while we're doing some Q&A, I will share the links here for us, at least directly through for the Circuit Stream registrations there. And if you do have any questions about the courses or how to get started, this is the base contact information for us here at Circuit Stream. The number, the 1-800 number that's on the screen you can call, or the email here, the admissions at Circuit Stream is the general line. If you just have any generic questions, you can do that. Oh, I can see we've got bootcamp links coming into the side here. It looks like David on our team is sharing some links there for us, which is fantastic. So if you're looking to register, like I said, for the upcoming cohorts, we're just going to share some links there so you don't have to go looking for them. You can just kind of click and register that way. And now I am going to officially take a look at the questions tab. I think I said this before, but I think the polls are in here. They're all working now. So if you haven't engaged with the polls already, feel free to go in and do that. And I will invite, ooh, there's some loud noise right outside my door here. So I apologize if anyone can hear that. I'm going to go ahead and invite Leo back up on stage. We also have Indica still in the chat here. So he's our instructor manager. So between the three of us here and the chat and live, we'll go ahead and do our best to kind of answer everyone's questions here. And it looks like Indica did the poll publishing for me. Thank you very much, Indy. So I'll close this because we don't really need to see this while we're doing this. We can just bring us back up here. So, and I'll start at the bottom of the list with the questions. Is this all online, as in the bootcamp itself? And the answer to that question, I can't make it live because we've already answered it, but yes, the bootcamp runs live online, so you can take the bootcamp from anywhere in the world and you don't have to physically be in person for any portion of it. Majority of it is live taught. I think there's recorded segments, there's different portions, but the majority of it is live taught, yes. Let's put this one up here. Regarding the game design bootcamp with Unreal, is it better to have Windows or would Mac be sufficient? I don't know if you would know this, Leo. I know that Indy would definitely know this too, and he's probably going to be jumping in the chat right now to answer that. But do you have any answers to that, Leo?
I think Mac would definitely be sufficient. Is it better to have Windows? I think so, simply because that's usually what the instructors are on when they teach. But you definitely don't have to have Windows. And Indy can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Mac would be more than sufficient.
I don't see Indy typing yet, but he's going to, oh yeah, he is. Unreal works better on Windows, but you can use a Mac. Yeah, basically same sort of answer there for sure. Okay, let's put this one up here. Is it worth taking both the game design and game development bootcamps, or is there a lot of duplicate in it? I don't think there's very much duplicate in it. I feel like the courses themselves are kind of geared in totally different directions. As far as I know, I don't even think we use Unity or Touch It at all in the design bootcamp. So I would say it's definitely beneficial, but it kind of depends on what you're looking as an outcome. If you're looking to be a developer and a designer and you kind of want to do everything all encompassed or at least have an understanding, then both courses would probably be an amazing fit for you. If you're looking to lean more towards one or the other and then kind of work, if you go through for developer, for example, and you're just looking more to work with a team of designers, then you wouldn't necessarily need to take the full course to get that understanding. But sorry, I'm rambling. I'll let you weigh in here as well, Leo.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with what you said. I think that the skill set is completely different between the two. One is way more development focused, right? Where, like you're developing a game, instead of focusing on like how the game looks during the project, we're going to be focusing on what the game does. How are you able to pick up an item and open a door with it? How are you able to shoot a gun? How are you able to, make AI movement, all of that stuff. Whereas in the game design boot camp, it's going to be more about how things look. Right? It's going to be more about the art in the game. So if you're trying to take both, you're going to be really knowledgeable in very different areas for sure.
And some people want to tackle that too. It's a big undertaking. Piece of advice I would say is don't try and take both courses at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
Would be very difficult to do. But if you kind of pace yourself and do one after the other and kind of, utilize the support that we have within Circuit Stream as well, you could also take one of the courses and gain a bit of additional understanding of the other side just through the network at Circuit Stream too. So 6 upvotes, lots of people agreed with that one. I'm currently in my third year of computer engineering. Should I take this course after graduation or while I'm studying? I'll let you answer that one, Leo.
I think that is completely up to you as far as how much like workload you think you have currently, right? I'm going to assume that 30 of computer engineering is not a very light workload. So if you think you can manage another, let's say like 12 hours per week for the course, assuming it's oh, that's actually it's a little bit more. So it's 5 hours of class plus 5 hours of lab. Are we still doing 5 hours of lab?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so that's 10 hours just there plus any extra work. So I would say 15 to 20 hours a week with assignments and projects and really doubling down on all of the concepts that you learned like I said before. Um if you think you can afford that, go for it. As far as workload obviously. But I don't imagine that the boot camp is going anywhere. So if you want to wait until you graduate and then you have a little bit more time in your hand before you do it, that'd be okay too.
Yeah, make sure you've got enough time to kind of dedicate to your current education and also to
For
this
sure.
course. We wouldn't want this to take away from something. We want it to kind of support something that you're working on. So, yeah, depending on how much more you have, you said third year, so you can take a look at taking another one. But based on what Leo said there with the timing, if you think you can kind of fit that into your week comfortably, then that's a pretty accurate depiction of what the week would look like based on what Leo just said there. So let's see here. Is there any instructor who can give me advice on 3D modeling through the boot camp? Indikar, our lead instructor, already answered this question, so I can't post it live. But currently, both of our courses do not offer 3D modeling specifically. However, we have instructors and community members who can definitely help in that area with advice. That's the biggest thing I say to people. The courses will cover certain topics, but if you're looking to kind of go within reason within this world and realm, but you're kind of going to go a little bit off script from what your course curriculum specifically teaches, the network is going to support you. There's a lot of people that have a lot of knowledge outside of the specific curriculum or class that you're in. So if you lean into that and say, hey, I'm taking development, but I have this question about design, or I'd like to learn, how can I incorporate this with 3D modeling? There's going to be somebody in the network, in the community who can help you, and most likely we'll have instructors as well that can do that too. So. What is the payment schedule over the 30 weeks? It kind of depends on the course well, I guess these are the boot camps that we're doing here today. We do have 10-week courses as well. That's why I say that. But the payment plan, that the best way to do it is to connect with an advisor, and they can literally give you the exact amount, what it would look like, monthly payment amounts, how long everything would kind of go. So that would probably be the best way. If we have a team member here who can share the way to connect with our team. I know I had a slide earlier with the 1-800 number and the admissions email. If you did catch that earlier, Alex, you're welcome to reach out directly and ask the admissions team. Or if you'd like, I can actually grab your name. I think I should have your information from you registering for this event, and I can certainly have a team member reach out to you directly afterwards if you'd like. If you have any questions about that, I certainly don't mind doing that too. So just let me know maybe in the chat what's preferable, and I can get somebody in contact with you, absolutely. Let's see. Most job postings I see are looking for a degree or diploma or equivalent experience. Do you see any job postings specifically for certificates or boot camps? It's nice to have as a requirement. Any particular job titles that are more likely to list more entry-level credentials? Yeah, I mean, on my side, Leo's an example of somebody right away who can kind of say that he secured a job right afterwards. But on my side, I connect with a lot of the hiring partners too. And one area that we try and focus on, and areas that we try and connect our students with, are the early career development portions of gaming studios and the internship opportunities. If you're coming through a course like this boot camp is going to prepare you quite a bit more than if you just took a 10-week course with us, for example. But you're also not going to come out of this as like a 10-year senior developer who knows the ins and outs of everything. You're going to have to build that a little bit and keep building with your career over time and keep up with advancements and as things change. So there's different opportunities that would kind of come, and there certainly are opportunities for people who go through with this type of skill set. But Leo, I see you nodding. Maybe I'll let you add to that as well.
Yeah, it's not that they're asking for certificates or boot camps in particular, but that is something that not only can you add to your resume and show that you have that background, that education background, but because Circuit Stream it's not like a teach and take an exam, it's a teach and here's a project. you can also add those projects to your portfolio, right? Like I said, when I started, I had no portfolio, and now I do because of the projects that I was able to build during the boot camp. So when you have that to present, instead of saying like I have a certificate, you have like I have a certificate, but also look at everything that I've been able to build. You have something to show for all of the things that you learn. And I know someone asked in the chat if you get a certificate, you do get a certificate of completion, and CircuitStream prepares you to take the Unity certification exam if you would like to, which is something that I did. So the skills that you learn in circuit, like in the bootcamp, you allow you to be able to take the certification exam with Unity if you would like.
Yeah, and that, just to clarify, that would be just for the development side, because Unity doesn't have
Yes,
the equivalent for designer.
correct.
But so yeah, I mean, there's all different types of jobs available. You know, if you're looking as brand new and you've taken the course, I usually recommend take a look at the early career portions of studios, but you know, engage with startups, engage with you know, indie studios. They're often looking for people to come in, and you know, it's a little bit easier to get through the gates of those companies, as Leo's raising his hand. But it's a little easier to get in the gates of those companies sometimes than it is to try and break through the doors of EA Games after you take a course immediately. You know, having said that, we do have another member, another student I can think of off the top of my head. He was in a completely different background. I think he was working in hospitality or hospital management or something before. He took a course with us, and then what he did is he utilized his previous education and work experience, and he combined it with what he took with the course. And now he's working at Bungie. He's not working as a game developer specifically at Bungie. He's working in management, and he's doing other projects on the side as well. But basically, he was able to kind of combine the two to get himself in the door. He's gaining experience. Eventually, he's probably going to be in a prime position for a developer role at Bungie if that's something that he wanted to do. You know, but there's just all different kind of approaches, I should say, that you can do when you're looking for opportunities once you take a course like this. And you certainly don't have to have a degree or diploma specifically for opportunities to arise. And Leo, you can raise your hand again there now.
Yeah, it's something I wanted to really quickly add to that is that what I loved about the process of becoming a game developer was that you are able to gain experience by yourself or with a group of friends without anyone actually having to hire you. Do we love to work for free? Not necessarily. But what I mean by work for free is you can build a project with your friends and develop that experience with version control, with all of the concepts that you learned in class and applying that, and then beef up your portfolio with that, right? So this is something like not a lot of jobs have give you the opportunity to add to your resume and portfolio by yourself. You can totally do that here as long as you're willing to put in the work, and as long as you're willing to dive in and make mistakes and take risks. You can beef up your resume and your portfolio by yourself. You don't depend on someone to do that. Of course, it's easier said than done as far as like how long it's going to take, right? Without actually being paid for it. But if it is something that, say you're going to take the boot camp for 6 months and you're like, I'm going to dedicate everything I have for this boot camp. I'm going to go to every class, do every assignment, complete every project, and also maybe do a project on the side, right? About something that you're passionate in. Then you're really on a great path for success there.
And that's where you can lean on the network too, like work with other classmates, get a little group together, build a game together, have fun with it. You know, we have students who have done that during the courses, just starting kind of creating projects. And then once they finish, they're still creating and they're looking to, submit the games now. And it's just, it's very fun to kind of see that where it started, but ultimately it's going to support your education and give you a way better understanding of what you're learning as you go through. So,
yes.
And it looks like Indy's already answered the next one for us. But let me see what it is. The bootcamp lists AR/VR frequently. Would we learn from what would we learn from the bootcamp? Would it be applicable for games that aren't AR/VR? So Indy responded and said we have lab sessions focused on AR and VR in a game development bootcamp, but it's not the core module. So once you understand how to implement logic in games, AR and VR is an added layer that changes how you interact. So all the concepts we teach throughout the core modules remain the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I want to add on to that too. The core is not AR VR, right? Like the vast majority of the bootcamp is the core concepts of game development. But I think I'm a good example for that. Like I did that bootcamp and I got a job in VR. So like Indy said, VR is an added layer where if you understand everything that the bootcamp offers, you can just quickly learn, about VR and how that adds on to all of the experience that you already have, and also be a candidate for a job in that area if you would like.
Yeah, and for pitch day, things like that as well. We also hire. I mean, these boot camps are focused on game development and game design, but the reality is we also have a lot of XR-focused partners. So we still invite them to these events too. They're looking for skill sets. They're not looking for specific games. Sometimes they're looking to kind of read through what you're presenting to see what your skill sets are and how it might be applied to something or a project that they're looking to have accomplished. So yeah, you'll have opportunities on both sides. I'd just like to share that we do invite the XR folks to our bootcamp sessions too here.
And if anyone is wondering, you do not need a headset to do the bootcamp at all, like a VR headset. You don't need that.
Right. And then, are there any accommodations for those learning with disabilities? Indica might be able to weigh in a little bit more on this. I'm not quite sure what we have in place per se, but I'm almost certain we have something in place for this. Indica, if you can maybe weigh in on the chat on that one and share a little bit there. But the courses themselves are beginner friendly. They're paced really well. We've got a ton of support. So I guess, it would kind of depend on the specific learning disability itself or what the requirements would be. But I know the team would be absolutely willing to work and provide support in any way that we need to. So that's probably the biggest takeaway, but I'm sure Indica can provide a little bit more information there as well on that. What does a video game designer do? Does he write a story? Does he create characters? Does he choose the genre of the game? What exactly does he do? Leo.
A little bit of all of that, right? A little bit of all of that. I think there's different areas of the game. So like you kind of there are game designer that is focused more on modeling, but there are game designers that are more focused on the back end, like you said. So designing the stories, like writing the lore of the story could be part of what a game designer does as well. Creating like the feel of the game, right? So how is this game? Because you're working in tandem with the developer, where the developer is basically required to or their job is to make it do the thing that the game designer kind of plans for it to do, if that makes sense, right? Of course, when you're working like individually, you're kind of wearing both hats. But if you don't have the game designer bootcamp or the game designer background, your game might not be as interesting. I'm going to put that in big quotes because many people are very creative, but it might not be as interesting if you had someone with that kind of background. Like, what makes a good game? What makes a game enjoyable to play, enjoyable to watch, right? What kind of input feels good versus feels bad? It's the game designer's job to kind of think about that and then communicate with the developer, because the developer's job is to actually make it do that, if that made sense.
Yeah, I think that made sense. And Indy's in the chat too, so he's probably going to weigh in a little bit more on that. But you're both answering better than I can on that. So. Can you take the design course if you have no art background?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the design course, we see a lot of people naturally kind of coming to us from different types of artistic or designing backgrounds, asking how they can apply it to XR design or how they can apply it to game design, just based on the courses that we offer. But we've also had people who have come to us with no design experience in their background or no art experience. And I mean, the biggest thing is just kind of understanding what you're going to learn and being okay and excited about learning that and being able to execute it. But you certainly don't have to have a background in art at all. Have you seen older students with little game development in background get new careers in the game, VR, AR, VR, XR industries or fields? Talking 50 plus in age. What is the oldest? Oh yeah. I mean, Brad, I travel to conferences all the time. Just to give you kind of peace of mind, I went to AWE. I went to GDC. So that's AWE's, Augmented World Expo. That's a little bit more on the XR side. GDC is the game development conference. So that's a little bit more on the game side. And I encounter developers and designers of all ages. I literally encounter people who are 18 to 65 probably is a safe range that I would say at these conferences. I've had conversations with people of all different ages. We have people taking our courses at all different ages. There's probably a general average, as there would be for any sort of course. I don't know what our average age would be for our students. So you might be a little bit outside the norm if you're an older student, but I would assume that's probably the same in any environment. Students on average tend to be just a bit younger in bulk. But in terms of support, in terms of having opportunities, your age won't have any sort of factor there. It's more, getting involved in the courses and in the community. Like Leo said, practicing what you're learning as you go through, staying as involved that way as you can, and creating opportunities for yourself. But your age wouldn't be a barrier as far as I've seen anyways. But would you agree with that, Leo?
Yeah, 100%. And I think Indy gave a little answer in the chat as well about that, where we have there is an older student, a former student. His name is Elias Jimenez, who started his own VR studio because of the experience that he was able to get in boot camp. So it's definitely possible. And like you said too, they're looking for the skill set. They're not looking for a certain age. If you have the skill set, it won't matter.
Totally. And yeah, I should pay attention. I'm looking at the questions tab.
It's a lot going on.
Indy's chatting on that
Yeah.
side too. Yeah. Let me pop over to this next one. By any chance, will this specific designer development bootcamp run again in the future? Oh yeah. We run these every 5 or 6 months or so. So I think I shared the next 2 upcoming cohort dates, which are October and maybe it was January, February, I think, of next year. But in either case, they run every 5 or 6 months, so there'll definitely be opportunities for courses coming up. If you are looking to take advantage of the promotion that we're offering through the event today, that would, as far as I know, that would be for the next 2 upcoming cohorts. So that would be 15% off opportunity for the next 2 cohorts there. And then, is this course appropriate for an individual who's just out of high school, or would you recommend they take other courses first to get the most out of the boot camp? Again, it is beginner friendly in that sense. We have students of all different ages. It depends. I mean, we do have some education options for pre-university. So if they were still in high school, we've got some summer camps and some after-school programs, things that students could kind of just start to get their feet wet. But if they're just out of high school, they're probably in a prime position to actually start taking these courses themselves and take them in their entirety. I can see you nodding, Leo. Maybe you can add into that as well. But
yeah, it's what I said before. Skill set wise, shouldn't be a problem, right? If you're out of high school and you're planning to go into college, then it's a workload kind of issue that it would be up to you completely. But it is completely beginner friendly. If you know that you have less experience with coding, you're probably going to have to do a little bit more work, like I said before. But it starts from the beginning, basically, right? Like, we cover everything from the beginning, the foundations from the beginning, which is something that got me really interested in teaching the bootcamp. Was I love teaching the foundations. I think setting that base is the most important part, because without that, you can't really grow and go anywhere. So 100% you can right out of high school. It's just going to depend on your workload, right? Do you have the time to dedicate to, if you were going to university, to both university and the bootcamp? If the answer is yes, then there's no problem.
And if you're asking that question, if I'm just assuming that you're asking this on behalf of somebody else, Michelle, but like maybe if this is for your daughter, your son, or something, I'm not quite sure. But if you are asking and you're kind of looking at just out of high school, that probably means that they've expressed a lot of passion or interest in doing something like this right out of high school, and that is probably the biggest thing that's going to lead to success. The drive. If you take any course and you're interested in what you're taking, you're motivated to kind of do additional things on the side, like Leo said, like start your own little project, practice some of your lessons on your own as you go through. That's probably the biggest thing. Age is way less of a barrier. You could be old, you can be younger. It doesn't really matter. It's just, if they're asking about doing something like this right out of high school, it's probably a good idea for them to at least look into it and see if it's something that they're passionate about for sure. And we got another one just popped up there. What prototyping tool is used in the designer course?
It's Unreal. It's the prototyping the prototyping is all done with Unreal Engine. That is kind of like the big module where Unreal will be featured. So all of the concepts that the foundations that you're gonna learn in module 1, you're gonna apply to a prototype with Unreal in module 2.
I was just going to say Indy can answer that too, but I should have known that. Of course it's Unreal, and it's Unity for the development side there for now. So, and then you can see Indy said we also use Twin Studio for narration and sometimes Figma for sketching as well.
Perfect.
Awesome. And the questions. There's another one here. Are there still open slots for both boot camps? I believe so. I don't want to say for sure. Honestly, the best way to do is just reach out to the admissions team with the links that we provided, or you can go right to the website. I think you can. I don't know if you can self-check out with the boot camps. I know you can with our 10-week courses. And in other words, you don't necessarily have to connect with the team member if you're sure it's something you want to do. But if you have any questions and you just kind of want to confirm the availability, the best thing to do is just connect with a team member and they can provide all the information for you that way. So I don't want to say for sure, but I'm going to say I believe there's spots available in the upcoming cohorts. And if you're looking to join, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for you that there is. And I think that's it. I think we just got through all of the questions that I can see here.
One question I think that got skipped maybe. I can start the live answer. It's that one. Yeah.
Good call. How much time do you think one should allot to the course per week? Oh yeah, this is great. You can answer this one, Leo.
Yeah, so per week as someone who's beginner in design, beginner to design / development. I can speak for the developer part, not so much for the designer bootcamp, just because that's the experience that I have. But so you have 2.5-hour classes twice a week, so that's 5 hours, right? And then you have another 5-hour lab on Saturday. That's 10 hours. Then I would say just to complete the assignments, if you're newer, it would probably take about like 3 to 4 hours for the assignment, maybe 2 to 3 for the assignments, if you're a complete beginner. And then if you want to add on to the skills the way that I have been saying, like if you do an hour a day, which would be great already, then it would be like another 5 or so, is assuming you're just doing it during the weekdays. So what is that, like 25 maybe total if you're a beginner? 25 hours a week I think sounds like the correct way to do it. And again, it depends on your dedication and how much you can focus per hour, right? Like I know I'm someone who sometimes I need 30 minutes to complete something, sometimes I need 3 hours. So it just depends on how you're able to focus and how you're able to optimize your time. But I think 25 hours, if you're a complete beginner to both, is probably a good estimation.
Awesome. And I just, while Leo was answering that there, I just threw the admissions@circuitstream.com email into the chat. Just in case anybody does have any questions, you can go ahead, you can click that link or that email. It should open your inbox or just copy it into your inbox. Feel free to blast the admissions teams with any questions that you have after this. They're happy to go through all of that. They can confirm availability. They can obviously get you set up with the promotions that we have in place as well. But just wanted to make sure I put that in there for you. Looks like Indy's still engaging and answering questions off to the side here as well. But I think as far as the questions go, I think we've answered all of them. Just having a quick look through here. So yeah, if anybody has any other questions for us, if you would like to connect with Leo, he shared his LinkedIn previously, reach out to us. You can go to my LinkedIn as well. It's just Tyler Trapp Circuit Stream. If you search that, you'll probably find my LinkedIn. And yeah, let us know if you have any questions. We're happy to connect. Leo can answer anything that you have. If you're looking at taking the course and maybe you just have 1 or 2 final questions, it's easier to sometimes ask somebody who actually took the course versus reaching out and asking an admissions team. I mean, we have the answers, but it's just, peace of mind hearing it from somebody who actually took it sometimes. So, so Leo's available for that. Indica killing it with the chat. I can see in the side here. Indica's also amazing. Like I said, he's our instructor manager. So If you have any questions that way, he's happy to answer. But I'll take this moment here and say thank you, Leo, for joining us today. Thank you for doing this session. I'm going to definitely bring you back. We'll do more of these in the future as well. And thank you to everybody for joining this session. Hopefully we answered all of your questions. And hopefully we gave you a good understanding of the courses that we have here. Feel free to do the polls if you haven't on your way out. And without further ado, I will end the event here. I think Indy just shared his LinkedIn there too. Yeah, he just shared it. Perfect. So thank you, Leo. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here. And on behalf of Circuit Stream, we look forward to seeing you at our next live event here. So thank you, everybody. Cheers. Have a great day. See my Halloween stuff in the background. I didn't realize. I'm just making sure everyone's okay in the chat there before I shut this down. Bye, everyone. Indy says bye. Awesome. No problem. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Have a great day. Cheers.